Welcome back, audience. Hope you're doing good. As always, welcome back to another one, the second one today. In this video, I want to talk about this hero's journey and the real mythology behind saving a princess, or Sophia, sometimes called, and how it is the very point of this game of life. Rescuing the princess um, is the demonstration of courage in a man, and the princess of willing to be rescued is the demonstration of surrender in a woman. And there's this, through the surrender in a woman, there's letting go of the ego, and the courage in a man is facing the ego. And that's the story. And one thing that you may notice is in the people who functioning through the ego, lately they're getting very exhausted. Why? It's because the enforcements of this energy is no longer is being supplied. The energy supply is being cut off. This is how the evil is being dealt with. You supply the energy, you cut off the energy, and then the leaves are withering, right? And these are the people who are functioning on the belief systems, and women who say like, I don't need to be rescued, it's like, I'm independent, strong woman, All right, cool. You know, on a financial perhaps world, maybe you don't need to be. Maybe you are fine that way. But in the soul, this is the whole point of the game. This is the whole point of life. It's the willingness to be rescued in a woman, and the willingness to rescue in a man. It is done in a soul level through the attention and awareness, and it's about facing those feelings that you don't want to face. In a man and a woman surrendering that, or ego, because whether you like it or not, that's going to happen through the exhaustion or through intelligence, right? But it's going to happen. And then a woman try to keep their ego, and they don't want to open up. They don't want to really be completely true who they are, because they think, well, the man is not going to rescue that part of me, and so I'm just going to end up being hurt. So they don't open up, and then it never happens. So this is why the man cannot connect to them, because they don't open up their heart. But they functioning and all these belief systems and arguing over nonsense and stressing out, and never really touching that peace, bliss that is available there, you know and there's a fear that, like, well, it's going to be abused, but it's not what's really going on. Whether you like it or not, this is going to happen to you anyway through the exhaustion. You're just going to give up and say, fuck it, I can't do this shit anymore. And in the heart, there's going to be certain type of relief, the surrender, that giving up of the ego. And immediately you'll start seeing different type of approaches from men happening to you as a woman. Why does it happen? Because you finally let go of the ego, and finally somebody does come in to rescue you, because you do need to be rescued, because that's the way the cookie crumbles. And every time you're willing to be rescued, there's going to be a man who's willing to rescue you. And we're talking about on the soul feeling level, which is exactly what everybody's need, is this truth and love in their heart. And women don't have a supply of their truth. They need that from a man, and a man doesn't have supply of love, and they need that from a woman. But you arrive to that place through your heart, and a woman surrenders to the masculine in the heart because a woman is afraid of the truth. but when she does surrender to it, she realizes this masculine energy is just it's bliss, it's ecstasy, and so she surrenders to that energy inside her first, and then that happens in the in a physical, world as well. And a man is afraid of love because it's destroying the ego. And then when the man is facing love, then the truth arises, all the lies disappear, and then what's left is the truth. And that's just Excalibur sword, if you will, right? And so there you go, you got this masculine alchemical and a feminine alchemical process that's happening within your heart. Nothing to do. It's like, this is why you don't have to argue with this. You don't have to say anything about it. You don't have to complain. You don't have to. None of that matters. It is what's done internally in your heart. And it's the easiest thing to do. The resistance is what keeps the suffering going. And that's what makes women suffer and never really connect to the man, and that's what makes a man suffer, never really connect to the woman. Right? And then there's this game, is like one somebody is willing to open up and another is not, and then you know and then of course there's a lesson. There's one person who's willing to open up, encountering people who are not willing to open up, remaining with the heart open because it's painful to keep your heart open when it's just continuous rejection. But then you realize that it's nobody's rejecting you, they're rejecting themselves, because you are coming from the authenticity from your heart. And then you become stable in that openness in your heart, and let everybody to reject themselves if they need to reject themselves, and open up to it if they need to open up to it. And this is how you let someone get closer to you, and you're not controlling it. It's just like electromagnetism. You you really don't know who is going to connect to you at the deepest level. You gotta let that just happen. If somebody comes into your life and just wants to connect to this little bit, and it kind of run away, okay, fine. Someone else comes in, connects with you in a little bit and run away, and it's okay, it's fine. Someone eventually is going to come in and connect to you at the deepest level, and but you got to let that process happen. This is that how trust is being rebuilt. Um, and I see, women post these honest, sometimes post like I just see sometimes in a YouTube videos pops up and somebody's commenting around that video, and it's usually men continue trashing women who are functioning from the ego, right? And so it's just like neither side is really doing any favors. Perhaps there's some uh, like a wake up calls within women to understand that the whole problem is the ego, is their ego or ego itself. And that's why there's no love there, there's no truth there, because of the ego. And the ego, feminine ego, usually is very quick to say, oh, I don't need to be rescued, I'm a strong independent woman, and stuff like that, where there's just like a denial of any femininity, and you know independence, right? Like this is, Jesus Christ, it's just like a yin saying to a yang, I don't want to be part of this thing that is happening. And what's going to happen if the yin says no to the yang? Some sort of abomination. The same thing with the when the yang says no to the yin, some sort of abomination. And what is that? Devouring mother, or the tyrannical father, or the phallic mother, and um, you know, a castrate castrate father, right? So there's these four possible outcomes of whenever there's a separation of yin and yang. So get the fuck out of here, you know? Like, seriously. You're either in it or not. But if you're not, then you don't belong to the cool kids club. And so you can go on and whine and do all that suffering if you really want to, but you don't have to. But in a cool kids club, there's a process of elimination of ego and not growing it. Everything's in the matrix, you know, like these psychologists, these fucking advice givers and everything. This is what they've done to you, you know. This is what they've done to you, because you listen to somebody that functions from the belief system. Because that was a safe haven of not to face the pain directly, and upon complete facing of the pain directly, there's a realization that it's not a pain. You see, because there's this fear of pain, or this fear of nothingness, this fear of this oneness, and there's this fear of nothingness, right? Like there's this, a man is afraid of love, and the woman is afraid of truth, and that's what happens in the soul level. One second. And there is a way out, and the way out is through the heart. And the second a woman accepts this pain that she's afraid of, she realizes, oh, this masculine thing that she was resisting to be rescued from. And when a man faces that abyss, that nothingness, realizes that he doesn't disappear, he becomes this. If there's one divine spark left, he realizes that he is that truth, and so the truth can only be seen in a complete love, and the love can only be seen in the complete truth, and that's where you get this point in the circle symbolism, and in between that point and that circle, there's infinity. Okay. The dating apps are not on your side. You have to understand. None of the matrix help, self-help, all this. None of this is on your side. It's all built to keep you in the matrix, to keep you micromanaging the situation, getting exhausted in it will never give you what you want. First, you want to if you want to find your partner, your real partner, you got to find it in your heart first. If you don't find it there, then you're just going to keep on when somebody comes in and it's genuine, and there is a powerful connection between you two, but you don't want to let your ego go and don't want to open up to this, gone, not gonna happen. But if you already did that within your heart, you will recognize that immediately, and there will be no fear and a complete and total openness. And in love, there is mutuality. There's what you want, I want. There's this telepathy almost. Conflicts on this level don't exist in the soul. There might be some sort of uh, logistics things to resolve or all that stuff, but there's no conflict no more in the heart. There's no separation in the heart anymore. Um, but in the mind, you still may need to work out the boundaries and how things work and stuff like that. But you do it together now, and you're both happy, and it's a game. It's no longer me versus you, because we're already the same thing in the heart. There's no difference there. That's what love. Love, that's what the paradox is that the paradox is that people say like, well, you gotta love yourself, love yourself. But the thing is that the true loving yourself, that real self, is everybody else's heart, and perhaps the most connecting uh, self that would be your other half, as they call it. That's what feels the most connecting, most intense, most, right? And so most connecting. What I'm trying to say here is that you love yourself, but you realize that that self is also that person. So you don't do anything to hurt yourself, and you don't hurt your person, because you know there's one and the same. If you do anything to hurt yourself or to hurt another person, you hurt yourself. You got to understand that. And when there's this immediate feedback of like, if I hurt somebody else, I will hurt myself, then there's sufficient intelligence there to understand what love is, that you are not separate from another person, even though you're the mind and body may be separate, but you're the one thing in the heart, and the one thing is experienced as love and bliss. As I always say, if you don't feel bliss and peace, then your attention is not where it's supposed to be. It's so simple. There's in a woman, there's this learning of devotion, not submission, but devotion, because submission is just giving up to the tyrannical father, but devotion is surrendering to benevolent father, that real power energy, the real masculine that actually does rescue your soul. And as you do this within yourself, this is what happens in out. And there's this openness to the right type of energy and natural sort of diffusion of the wrong type of energy. And it's a very selective openness in a woman. Innocence, the openness of innocence is only to the man who carries that real power energy, and compassion for the rest. And in the man, there's this, you give your confidence only where there is openness of innocence and power to the rest, or passion to the rest. No, I think I messed this one up. Actually, I think it's reverse in a man. The power goes to one woman, confidence for the rest. I think that's how it works. Because the dynamic is that the innocence requires power to be rescued, and compassion requires confidence, or rather than confidence to be protected needs a compassion. There's this dynamic that is right, and it's how it works, and it's again, it's physics. Okay, now what else can I say about this? I think that's it. My point that I'm trying to make is that there is faculties that are in your heart that is forgotten. That's the only way out when you start realizing and mastering those, and take your attention away from all this clusterfuck that is going on, that is just running in a hamster wheel looking for love where don't exist. Just if I could just learn another pickup line, if I could just, you know, uh, use another app, it's just like if I could just write, excuse me, read another book about this, and work, well, then it's gonna happen. None of it's gonna happen because you cannot find love in logics. And so you see how when you see the people are engaged in this um, e- use of energy where there's no answer and never will be, and there's so much of that energy being engaged in them. When you see that, you what do you do? What do you think? What do you feel? You look at this. It's like somebody's looking for a brain in the butt, and then and what do? It's like, hey, you're not gonna find the brain here. The brain is on the other end, and they don't listen. They keep looking for it. I say, all right, go exhaust yourself. When you're gonna give up, you're gonna realize that it's right there. And that's what's up. So I'll close it here. I think men need to find that true power within themselves that is no longer ego, and understand that just trashing women who function from the ego is not an answer as well. Bound Setting the boundaries enough, you just say like, yeah, no, that's not what happens in my domain. But this additional, you know abuse that they engage is not productive at all. And on a woman, and they need to gain a little bit more compassion towards these men who are just bunch of programmed muppets by the society, the social robots, as I call it. So, because if somebody says like they really want this, they really want love, they really want um, truth, they really want this type of relationship, you gotta leave the entire matrix. You gotta stop being addicted to this and start finding that feeling within your heart, how that feels like. And on the way to that feeling, you will find all sorts of obstacles that you first need to overcome. And once you find that feeling, then you're going to stop looking for it and it's just going to happen because you already got the feeling. And whether it just comes in the physical or goes, the feeling is with you all the time, forever. So that's how it ends, the whole suffering and the battle between sexes and gender, you know. So there, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.